2023. We have an appointment at 6:15. We're going to pass over the abatement issue with Ms. Butler. That'll be passed over to another date. 6:30 is the Agricultural Commission presentation, hospital fees. We have action items, superintendent's contract, trash carts, drain layers license renewal, Sealand Corporation. Article 10, restricted water uses. Number 5, change order, Willow Street Bridge design. 6, Brent Rock Seawall Repair Project, contract 2023-05, change order. 7, permit for driveway, new driveway connections. 8 is summer hours. We're going to vote to accept minutes 5/8/23. Superintendent's report, dredge spoils area ramp, paving list update, update on Surf Ave project, update on Plymouth Ave project. Next meeting is June 5th, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, 6:15 is not being passed over at 6:30. What do you want to vote? Something we can do quick?
The drain layers. The drain layers.
You want to do drain layers?
That's quick.
You okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay. Action item, drain layer license renewal. Mr. Sealand of Sealand Corporation has submitted an application for renewal license, and I have attached the form for your approval and signature. Thank you. J. Parker, collection form. Okay, and there's completed the application. Okay. Do we have a motion? We just read the license. I can read the whole
Read
thing. You want to read that, Diane?
Sure. Okay, master's drain license, Town of Marshfield Department of Public Works hereby issues Kevin Sealand a master drain layers license for the name of drain layer, calendar year 2023. The person named in this permit agrees to abide by all conditions set forth by the federal, state, and town of Marshfield laws, rules, and regulations or conditions applicable to the performance of services executed under this license. Failure to comply with any applicable laws, rules, regulations, and conditions set forth by the federal, state, or the town of Marshfield is reasons for immediate revocation of the drain layers license or permit. Date is 12/23/22.
Okay.
Question.
Go ahead.
Why does it take 5 months for the license to come to before the board?
Sometimes they just come in late, Bob.
Well, it looks like he signed it December 23rd.
Yeah, they just come in late. It's just what
Just
they
came in
usually
late?
do.
Okay.
Mhm. Usually when they have something that they have to work on, they'll come in.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the master drain layers license as read by Ms. Jordan. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You have to sign this, Mary.
Yes, I'll give it to you after, John.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's number 3 is done.
Take trash cans out of that?
Yeah, if you want, sure. You want to do trash cards?
Sure.
Is that all right, Bob? Trash cards?
Number 2?
Go for it.
Ken?
Sure. As we discussed the last time, we instituted the pay-as-you-throw program back in 2007, where we said people would get 1 free barrel, not to exceed 39 gallons, and then everything else would be in pay-as-you-throw bags. So since that time, we've kind of lost control of the size of the barrels. So now we're looking at getting a grant from the state to procure 35-gallon barrels for everybody in town who's in the program. So what we're looking for is authorization for us to apply for that grant so we can get the 35-gallon carts.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Bob, do you have?
I have, I think that, I was a little hesitant last time at the meeting, but after thinking about it, and since we have consistency on the recycling bin across the town, I think that the trash should be consistent the same way. So I'm in favor of the 35-gallon trash carts moving forward.
Thank you. Ms. Jordan, do you have any comments?
Yeah, so this is to allow you to get the grant, and then as far as the actual details of the program, we'll work that out if you get the grant.
That is correct.
Okay.
The grant likely wouldn't come out until fourth quarter of this calendar year, so maybe we'll hear at the end of the second quarter that we're going to get the money, but the money won't come out until later on in the year.
And then there'll be more discussion as to how to implement
Yes.
everything. Okay.
All right. When this was passed at town meeting, it was a 39-gallon barrel. And we can't provide a 39-gallon barrel, so it has to be 35. That's why we're going to 35. I think that's a good number. So, yeah, I'm for this. This will straighten out a lot of things. Any comment from, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So going to a 35-gallon barrel for trash is one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. In Plymouth, they uniformed their barrels. They went to 65 gallons on their trash barrels to make it uniform with their recycling barrel. Because we know what's going to happen. People are just going to put trash in the recycling barrel. And it just is this a scheme to make more money for retained earnings out of the fee payer's pocket. There's no reason not to have, if you want to make it uniform, go to 65-gallon trash barrel. That would be a good thing to do. Right.
Your name and address for the record?
Stephen Lynch, 50 Central Street.
Thank you.
I have a clarification on
Go
that.
ahead.
So in Plymouth, they have a choice. They can either choose 35 or 64. And they also have a choice on pickup. They can choose to be picked up once a week or once every 2 weeks. So it's a little bit different. It's not all 64, it's 35 or 64.
Oh,
And they pay different rates depending on if it's a 35 or a
So
64.
a single-family home could have the 35, but people who have 6 people in their home, like I do, you need a 65-gallon trash barrel.
Yeah, they do pay different rates for the different
Right.
sizes, just to be clear.
So Todd Cap, I'm with Mass DEP. Plymouth doesn't have a curbside program anymore. They got rid of that.
Really,
So
I saw them picking
what
up
they
the
have
other day.
now
was
is
there.
they have
Last
a
week.
transfer, they have a transfer station. Those people that have curbside service pick a private provider that's authorized to haul in that town. So all they have is a transfer station.
Yeah, and no providers give them the choice.
Well,
Private service.
You all
Oh,
said,
so we have private service.
I don't think we can go any higher than 39. That was passed at town
It
meeting.
was up to 39,
Up to
up
39,
to
yeah.
39 size.
I mean, we're stuck with 39 at town meeting. We can change it if we go to town meeting.
But we won't get the grant if we go bigger than the 35, because DEP is pushing for the 35.
Yeah.
Anything bigger, we wouldn't be eligible for the grant.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. All right, are you guys set? You want to make a motion? Bob, you want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to authorize the DPW staff to apply for the grant from the Mass DEP to procure and distribute 35-gallon trash carts to households in Marshfield that participate in the curbside trash collection programs.
We have discussion on that, we've already had it.
Okay,
Need a
discussion.
second for discussion.
I know.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
okay.
Diane, did you vote?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't. I'm sorry.
Unanimous.
6:15. You want to do summer hours, 8? Is that something? I mean, just, we've got 15 minutes here.
We could do
Or Oh, we could
The
actually,
permit change order for Willow Street Bridge, well, let me check on each one. John, I think 8 we might have to do in collective bargaining.
okay. All right, we'll pass over that.
Yeah.
Okay. What one did you want? Willow Street?
The Willow Street change order.
That's number 5. Okay. That's you, Rod.
Yes, it is, thank you.
Go right ahead.
As you know, the Willow Street final design is underway. We got that grant from Mass DOT for $219,582. They're strictly paying for the final design, and the town is responsible for the permitting. And we just got authorized at town meeting to go forward with the permitting. That won't be available till July 1. So one of the amendments, or part of the amendment tonight, would be to authorize us to move ahead with the permit drawings. We had applied to Chapter 90 for project approval to start the permit drawings with Chapter 90 money. And we've got that authorized, so I wanted to get authorization tonight from you to move ahead with that. And also, we have to do a couple of borings for a retaining wall based on the alignment. I think it had to do with the water main that has to be put into the bed. It has widened it a little bit. And now they're going to check to see if they need a retaining wall on that side. So they've got to go down and do some borings on that edge, so they might need a retaining wall. So there's an additional $7,195 required for the borings to the subcontractor. So that would require a vote from you tonight, so that I can authorize BSC to move ahead and get their subcontractor in there to do the borings. So there is a motion to authorize amendment number 6. I don't know if you've got
Yeah, we
the
got it.
recommendation.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's for that water line. Which says started.
We put the water lines to the side, but then
Yeah.
when they build a new bridge, they'll have to go back,
Correct.
disconnect, and then bring it underneath the bridge. They'll have a utility bed. And we're trying to get that all aligned, and they needed a little bit more width.
Okay. That's been a long time coming over there in that area on Willow Street. Do we have discussion, Bob?
It's been a long time coming, let's move on with it.
Makes sense. How about you, Diane?
No questions?
Okay.
It's gonna take about a year to get all the permitting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on it.
Any questions from the audience? Willow Street? All set? Okay. I'll make the motion. Motion to authorize amendment number 6 to contract 2019-08 with BSC Group, Inc. in the amount of $7,195 for additional geotechnical work and $26,201 to begin preparing permit drawings, and to authorize the chairman or designee to sign the contract amendment when the documents are prepared. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Rod.
And I'll be coming back to you for all of the permitting authorization when it's eligible, July, sometime in July or late June.
Okay. All right. What number was that, 5?
That was 5. I think we could probably do Grant Rock Seawall change
Yeah.
order.
Do number 6, is that you, Rod?
Yes, it is.
Okay. When you're done, you can take off, I guess.
Grant Rock seawall, the actual repair work has been completed. They moved to the site, and because of their expertise in doing dam work and river restoration. We had hired them to do that ditch from Johnson Terrace. They had completed that. I have some pictures here of the most recent ditch cleaning. So they were able to work with the town. We went in there and tried to cut the vegetation down as far as we could get. They got about halfway. And Sunco came back in and cleared the ditch from Plymouth Ave to Pershing. That was one of the high priority ditches that needed to be done. They also went on the other side, and we went about 100 to 150 feet down on the Plymouth Ave pump station side and cleared that out as well. So those two ditches were done. And then I was visiting 307 today, and just before, last week, just before I left for a couple days vacation, on Wednesday, we went out and we looked at the results of the 600-foot trench that we had done. And we had lowered the water in that area about a foot, roughly 6 inches to a foot. So the ditch was helping. So the piece from the road, actually from the back of their property to the open water, it's about maybe 200 feet, but at least 100 feet of that has to be cleaned out. And so I was talking with them this morning because I'm a little bit concerned that it might become tidal. If we get a lot of rainfall, like we got, 2 inches this weekend, was it Sunday night? The water, the back water went up like about, what was it, about a foot?
Almost a foot, yes.
Almost a foot back there. So they're right around 2 feet. So a foot might translate to flooding if everything was connected, and they're aware of that. But the benefit on having that pipe work far outweighs, in their opinion, and it probably does, the flooding that's going on in their driveway. Their driveway was flooded again because that drain just can't handle it. The ditch needs to be cleaned out. So I've talked to Sunco about being able to come in here possibly Thursday or Friday to get like 100 feet of that done. And that will connect it to that whole system back there. We should be able to help out the situation. Now, another thing that we would do, more of a longer term thing, would be go up to Seminole. And there's a couple of catch basins up there that, and a pipe that goes from Seminole down to 307 across the street, ties into that drain. If we plug that and then go directly across within the layout of Seminole, the paper road there, get into the marsh, I think we have enough grade, then we could cut the amount of runoff probably in half. So that might help as well. But that's a little bit longer term, as permits required there. And, we'd have to, figure out who's going to put it in and all that. But that would be a more longer term. It won't totally eliminate the problem, but it'll help. And I think those are the 2 steps I recommend we do. Is just let's try cleaning out that ditch, and they're in favor of that. So I have a motion here. So both the work that was done, it's kind of a ratification of that $14,995 for the Pershing ditch and the Plymouth Ave ditch, and then an additional $3,500 for the 100 feet behind 307.
Okay. Very good, Rod. Bob, do you have any questions?
No, I think that
Long time coming.
these people have been tortured enough that we need to really do something to fix that and cut down on the volume that's going into their property. So anything you can do I'm all in favor.
Uh, You all set, Ms. Jordan? You-
I'm very happy that's going to be done.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead, Bob.
Motion to ratify, authorize change order number 2 to contract 2023-05 with Suncoat to clean out the drainage ditch along Plymouth Avenue from Pershing to Plymouth Avenue, approximately 300 linear feet, and along Plymouth Avenue, PS pump station, approximately 100 feet, for the amount not to exceed $14,995. And the chairman or designee will sign the change order when the documents are prepared. If second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. On the second one, motion to authorize change order number 3 to contract 2023-05 with Suncoat to clean out the drainage ditch behind house number 307 Plymouth Avenue for the drainage outlet at a distance of approximately 100 feet for a amount not to exceed $3,500. And the chairman or designated will sign the change order when the documents are prepared.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Also unanimous.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Got some pictures if you want to see the picture.
I'd like to see them.
Charlie took these, that's his finger.
Rod, you all set?
I think so, yes.
No, you can stay if you want, or go if you want.
I'm on my way for this.
Thank God you did something.
I know.
There's a program that's coming out about Thursday.
Oh, you want to-
Control.
Take these.
Thank
you.
You got my email address?
I'll find it. I'll ask Anne Marie.
Did you get emails from me for
But I'm
this?
looking at.
No, I just received them. I'll just ask Anne Marie.
That'd be
Oh,
good.
because I might have got the email address wrong from Tom.
Okay,
Nice.
I gotta check yours.
okay, okay.
I think we can go to, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Andrew Keller, 307 Plymouth Ave. Just want to thank Rod and Lloyd for the attention I brought to this flooding problem. So thank you.
To see if we can alleviate that problem.
Be nice then to get to cut down the volume of water that's going across the street to you.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Okay. Can we go to the agricultural commission? We've got 2 minutes, but
Yes. Is there a way to show a presentation?
This is great. I don't know how to attend it.
I can only-
Ken's gonna try and do it too.
Okay.
I would help, but I don't know.
Make this up.
I see one.
We did get a new IT guy today.
So the screen's coming down, there's a, you want to hand out a popcorn?
Not many people are going to be in people's way, should I move?
No, it's your phone.
You know, they-
We're going back to the first row.
If I'm in people's way, I'll just move. My head is higher than the picture.
Here it is.
Those.
Should we shut the lights off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it, yeah.
Front one.
Wait, people's way.
lot of others up here.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good. Oh, no.
Okay, I think that's good. All right. I'm Lori Dolan. I live at 93 Summer Street. I'm the chair of the Marshfield Agricultural Commission. And I was made aware of some manure fee changes with a panic phone call from a farmer in May, or end of April, I guess it was, right before the change was taken into effect. We met with...
Speak a little louder, please.
Sure.
Thank you. For those us old guys.
Yeah. So the Agricultural Commission met with some farmers in town. We notified some horse owners to see how this was going to affect people and impact things. And so we wanted to make a presentation to let you know what's going on. So just as a quick overview, new fees don't support the right to farm bylaw, and we'll show you how and why. It has an unfair penalty, just based on the way it's structured. And we're going to show you how local farm businesses are building community values in this town, and they are at risk, and there's other risks to the community when there's a fee added. And lastly, it really doesn't completely address the problem. The right to farm bylaw, the keys are, it's to encourage pursuit of agriculture, promote those economic opportunities, which means business right there, with minimal conflict with butters and town agencies. And this new manure fee does not encourage, support, or promote farm economic opportunities. We did a little research about horses in Marshfield. 75% approximately of the 200 horses in Marshfield are owned by residents for personal use. Some of those are in their own yard, some of those are boarded at Marshfield locations. Some of those Marshfield boarding facilities have their own personal horses there as well. We looked at what's the financial impact here, and for a small equine business, and I'm meaning less than 20 horses, and there are some which are larger, it's $20,000 to $27,000 a year for them. We did some more calculations. We figured out what a horse puts out the other end. Just about the same amount that goes in the front end, and it's about 40 pounds a day, with a weekly dump as a calculation, depending on whether you have one horse or 10 horses, how much you're bringing in time. It comes to $2,000 to $5,200 per year per horse. When you try to add that on to a boarding fee, it basically will put these boarding facilities out of what the market will bear and out of business. The horse farms that are small, meaning less than 20, will suffer greatly. As an example, Furnace Brook Farm, they shared with us that last year they had $6,700 in profit. So this will crush them. The year before that, they operated at a loss. None of the farms that are working as horse farms, this is not their sole source of income. This is not a huge profitable business. And as a result, these fees could potentially crush these farms, squeeze them right out of Marshfield altogether. Marshfield has such a rich history of agriculture, and I really feel like that would be quite a shame. It also means we lose open space, community partners, and small agricultural businesses. How are these farms integral in our community? Well, some offer therapeutic riding, almost all offer summer camp opportunities. Some offer fire department training more than once, teaching the fire department how to deal with horses, how to deal with the barn fire, what a good escape plan is, how to halter a horse, how to take them out blindfolded, things that they wouldn't normally know. These provide opportunity for children who aren't into the soccer and the lacrosse and the major sports. So it gives them another place to go do things. Horse facilities, and I own horses myself and have taught for years and years as well. It develops leadership, responsibility, self-regulation. It has so many powerful things that help you in your future life. Horses taught me more about how to work in corporate America than college did. Okay? It works a lot with the financially disadvantaged, some of these farms, and we'll see fragile footprints, justice resourcing, all these different places. We have provided for you I think it was about a 3-page thing from Furnaceburg Farm that outlined more of that. And they are not the only farm that does a lot of these things. None of these places are high-end, let's go to Florida and spend thousands of dollars every month. Let's prep a horse and the person walks in and hops on. No, these are places where people take care of their own horses. The kids learn how to be responsible, how to care for the animals. It's not big money places. There's other risks involved besides what it does to the farm itself. Having a fee does not, or I should say, kind of encourages dumping or self-composting or stockpiling to avoid having to pay a fee. Almost all horse properties that I know of in Marshfield, because I spent 2 years looking for a horse property before I found mine, they all have either wetlands on them or abutting them. And if it's not a wetland, it's a waterway. And they're all in residential areas. So the issues of flies, odors, nitrogen runoff, these are all risks. And of course, the neighbors don't like the flies and the odors. I did make a few phone calls to DPW. I was able to get a little bit of information, and I understand that there's a space problem. And there's more than one way to solve a growing mound of compost that you have there. You can decrease the inputs, you can increase the outputs. Those are two very basic, things. Penalizing the input doesn't solve the long-term issue. It might slow it down, but you're still not really addressing how to make more space. The other thing that we found a little odd was, manure is a key component to making really good compost. A lot of places, they really look for that in their compost. It's very high nutrient content, and it increases the value of that compost. And properly composted, meaning, it's got the greens, the dry things like, dead leaves, and the compost. It's such a great natural fertilizer. I do my own. I spread it on my hay field. Every year that I manage to get it spread, I have the best hay ever. I use it in my gardens. I'm an organic produce grower as well. It's very valuable, as long as it's done right. If we need to get more output off of that lot, perhaps we should be spreading it on cemeteries, on the lawns, on the ball fields, on the greens, on the schools, instead of spending money on fertilizer. It's a natural fertilizer. It's better than using a chemical version. If that's still not enough, give it away. You already do give it away, but let's take a load of it to the local church and let them spread it. The shelters, the Veterans Association, the fairgrounds will take some. How about some farmers with hay fields? Maybe you can sell it to the local agricultural supply companies. They deliver, and people pay a lot of money to get that stuff delivered. And there's still some other questions that remain, like, what does commercial mean? Is the guy down the street who's selling eggs on the corner, brings his chicken manure to the dump? Is he commercial? Well, he's not single stream, he's not making his entire living off of chicken eggs, at least not in Marshfield. Well, horses, the same way, we're not making all our money off of horses. So, it's kind of unclear what counts as commercial. Are there things we can do to help? The AvCom is here to help other departments as well as residents and farms. So we'd like to work together with everybody. And how do we address this long term? Because even if the fees remain, it doesn't solve the problem in another, year or two. However, we've reduced the input, but we haven't solved the output problem. So the Agricultural Commission would like to respectfully request the elimination of the fees on manure. If that's not something you feel you can do, we request a 120-day hold so that we can work with you, figure out a plan that works for everybody, that we don't crush these small farmers. And we'd like to have a name of someone that we can work with. Because just calling into the DPW kind of isn't very efficient. There's a lot of missed calls back and forth. If we know who we're going to talk to, it will work a lot better. So in summary, the new fees don't support right to farm. It penalizes. I don't think we really want to be putting these community assets out of business, and it does add other risks. And we'd like to request a reversal of the fees. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Bob, do you have any questions?
Yeah. So I want to ask Mr. Ryan, how many tons of manure do we get a month, a year, and what is the impact on the waste stream? Do we actually put it into the compost? Do we keep it separate? Do we discharge it to a solid waste facility? Try to get a handle on exactly what we do and why we need to put a fee on it.
So, because the first question is how much, we don't know, because it's not weighted. So all we can do is see the people coming in. So the quantity we don't have a good handle on right now. What we do see is in the winter months, another question was blending. If we do blend it into the other leaf and yard waste compost, but we don't take we only take leaf and yard waste compost from residents of Marshfield. We don't let landscapers or other commercial entities in. So we're looking at doing the same thing equally. That's what we talked about at another meeting, is to basically say, if it's not from your home, if it's not your own horse, if you have a business entity, then you're commercial, so you shouldn't be bringing it in under a residential pass. We do blend it in, as you asked, and then the issue we run into is in the winter months, we don't have any leaf and yard waste. So all of a sudden, all we have is the horse manure. So now it's a separate product, so we don't get to blend it in to get the benefits of the nutrients in it. And we do have a lot of compost material there.
What are we doing to relieve the issue of all the compost that we have?
We're looking into trying to get outside entities to take some of it.
The last question I have is, what's the difference between cow manure and horse manure as far as being put in compost? Is it one versus has more seeds and is not as desirable, or one is more desirable? It's usually a cow has a couple of bellies in there that has a different component that that waste is different than a horse's waste. So that's my point is a cow manure higher or lower quality than a horse's?
there's multiple answers to that. I don't know if you.
I do not know.
I do.
It's all about manure.
I'm taking composting courses. So if you're going to take manure straight and spread it on fields, cow manure is better because it won't have the weed seeds. However, if you're composting it, horse manure is better. It has a lot more nutrients in it. And the heat, when you compost, destroys the seeds so that they don't germinate. As long as you're composting it properly. You have to turn it so many times and so often.
So you have to windrow it?
Not
So we're not
necessarily.
windrowing it, we're just packing it all into one thing.
You have to turn.
We're windrowing it, but because we don't have a lot of space, it doesn't look like we're windrowing it.
Additionally, if you're composting it, I'm not going to say the word properly because that's not really the right word, but there's many ways to compost it. And it can take 2 years or it can take 30 days. You can have it fully composted down in 30 days if you are turning it
If
daily.
you're cooking it correctly.
It's not just
160
cooking, you
degrees.
have to add oxygen. You have to keep turning it.
Right, that's why I'm saying windrowing it. Whereas compaction, where we have it, it's just flat, it's just like a big mound without the oxygen on either side.
It's not on the side, it's underneath.
No, I
the
understand,
tape,
but
yeah. You have to turn
you have
it.
to keep on moving it. We're not moving it.
Okay.
Basically, it's going anaerobic, meaning no oxygen.
Right.
So that's what takes years to break it down
Yeah.
and bring a big pile to a small pile. When you do it rapidly, you get a pretty small pile. And you can then mix that in with other, like, you could do that during the winter, just the manure, since that's all you're getting, there's no grass. And then you mix that in with the other items during the following season, and it will rapidly help that decay very fast because it's got all the microbes in there that are needed to digest it and compost it.
So I have one last question of you. On the supply of compost that we have is overwhelming at the Clay Pit Road. Is there a way that we could have, she brought up in her presentation, commercial landscapers, will they take it? Is there a way that we could actually assist people versus just getting a barrel at a time type of thing? Could we be more proactive of trying to distribute it?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, to look at sources for it.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Ms. Jordan, you have a question?
Thank you for your presentation. And actually a question for both. Okay. I'm sorry, what?
I just didn't know if, is the public allowed to make a comment?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll recognize you.
Okay.
Do you have people interested in creating a group to look at the commercial possibilities with selling the manure and the compost mixed together? And is the department able to consult in that? Like, could there be a committee that could look
So
at?
the Agricultural Commission has 7 members. We are happy to work with the DPW on whatever we need to do to help make this better for farms. That's our job. We are volunteers. We were appointed by the Board of Selectmen. A couple of us have taken classes on composting. We have a member who works for Mass Department of Agricultural Resources. She has a lot of knowledge about different ways to do things, programs. We'll work with whomever you wish to have work with us, and we'll try to work something out. We'll help for free.
And what about the farms? Are you in contact with?
Absolutely.
And would they be willing to kind of join in and work on that initiative together?
I'm sure they would. They're not going to do the composting and selling. That's a whole nother job. And the reason they bring the stuff to the transfer station is they don't have the space on their own property. It's a whole lot easier just to do it on your own property if you can. The only reason they're bringing it to Clay Pit Road is they can't do that either because of wetlands, space, residential, flies, things like that. So that they can't do the composting themselves, but they're very interested in making sure they don't have to be paying so much money. It's crushing them, literally.
I can see businesses being interested in buying Marshfield Seaside compost, you know, like if it's marketed correctly. But it would require some of the farmers and the commission and then the DPW to kind of all work together to create probably a place to.
Well, first you have to make sure it's composted properly. It has to do with pH, the weed seeds, those things. We could certainly help. We could probably even bring in an expert if that's what you needed, you know, to consult, come up with ways to help, you know, what would make this work. We're happy to make phone calls to landscape material places and say, you know, would you take this? You know, if they load it in your truck, would you take it? You know, we're happy to make phone calls. We don't have a budget. We don't get any money from the town. There's no taxpayer money going into us. So I can't say that we can go out and do advertising for you, but we are here as a resource and we will help in any way we can.
I think maybe if all the horse farmers work together with the agricultural commission, maybe they could start an initiative to create a little business for that, like you said. I mean, it would be a big job, but it certainly would be worth them putting the effort in too, rather than paying fees.
And I think if the town would utilize the compost on, you know, the islands around the schools, you know, just get a spreader.
I think we do already, don't we?
We do.
Don't we use the compost?
We do. The
Yeah.
schools used it when they built the high school. They blended the compost with the loam they had scraped off the original field.
If I'm talking about spreading it on top of the grass, you know,
Right.
not thick, obviously, it's a thin spread, but you could do that 2-3 times a year even, not during the school year probably, but, you know, June, July, and August, or June and August. And, you know, a lot of schools, a lot of fields, soccer fields, that would help your soccer fields.
Yeah, we blend it right now and use it as top dressing and on the playing fields.
How's the weeds? Any weeds?
Well, that, it goes to weed after you leave it for any period of time, it will go to
Yeah.
weed, but, you know, you keep moving it, as Laurie mentioned, you rotate it. Perfect conditions is 160 degrees, you rotate it at 160 degrees, you wet it, you can put lime on it, and like she said, in 30 days, you can have a usable material. But again, it's space needs for that, to make the windrows, have the ability to rotate it on a regular basis. You have to have a dedicated staff to that compost facility. It's much more work than just what we're doing up there right now.
Well, that was a great presentation. And I don't want to see anybody put out of business or penalized at all. I think the work with the children and the handicap that I heard about is tremendous. I think we all can work together. Everybody can work together. I know you had a couple of things you'd like the board to consider. One thing I'd like to ask the consensus of the board, if we could, instead of 120 days, that's 4 months, do 6 months, no fee. Let's all work together in 6 months and come up with a solution that's acceptable to everybody, the town, all the horse owners, commercial and private. I think there's a difference of ones that are so-called residential, and I don't think there's that
They're all
many.
residential areas.
Yeah, but I don't think there's that many commercial. I don't want to see a commercial be put out of business that has that works with any, you had it up on the board, that works with any, the handicapped and penalized. So, I just like, I don't think 4 months is enough. I think 6 months would be better, that everybody work together. Is that something?
I think that's smart, especially where summer vacations are coming up. And
Yeah, so, I mean, I could, is it all right if I make a motion with you to
One last question.
go right ahead.
Our current solid waste fee is $408,
416.
$416. What portion of that is if we do not add a fee to the manure, will it go up or down? By either adding or not doing it? How does it affect the whole town?
The 416 was calculated for last year. So
Yeah.
that was established last July, and there was no charge for manure at the time.
Okay, so if we charge a fee, what would the effective rate?
Potentially, we would, it depends. If the manure keeps coming in and the rate is paid, then that would go into the retained earnings, and we could lower the fee for everybody in town if that
But
manure
do we
went somewhere
don't have a
else.
number though.
I don't have a number because I don't know how many tons there are.
So we need to do more work. We need to figure out the numbers. I'm very glad that you came. I'm in favor of John making a motion to go for 6 months so that we can actually work on the problem, work on a problem that's a solution for all of us. And my concern has always been water supply. Furnace Brook Stables is right next to our water supply. So even if it's a couple dollars more on the fee for solid waste, we're protecting our water supply. I really don't want it to be compost on top of our water supply. So thinking just about that in our wetlands, of adding nitrogen to our wetlands, I would really like to, put the brakes on it, sit back, figure out where we're going, come up with a solid plan.
That's good, Bob. We have,
Just offer something? In this,
go ahead. I
okay.
have someone in the audience.
Sure.
But go ahead.
But in this interim, can we weigh in everybody who comes in
Absolutely.
so that we can?
We need data.
We need information.
Go
I
ahead.
have one other thing. Sorry, one other question.
Sure.
In this 6 months period, if we do that, will you be willing to be in contact with all the horse owners and see who's willing to come together as a group to work on solutions to it and, kind of strategize on
yeah, I have
how to
a
fulfill
list.
some of those
Yeah,
plans?
we will send out a mailing to all of them and invite them to meetings and tell them what we're trying to do and why. And I can't make them come, but I can certainly reach out to all of them, and we had a pretty good showing at the first meeting. Those who could make it. Now, we were only addressing really commercial, so there really wasn't many residents of that. But I think if we, let them know that we all need to work on this together, I think the residential horse owners will also come.
Okay, that's
And
good.
actually, it's not just horses, it's alpacas, it's chickens. There's other animals out there too.
A lot of livestock.
That, any of the livestock manure that would come to the transfer station.
Okay, go ahead.
Pam Christus, 60 Central Street. A couple things. I think it's wrong to add a fee for this. I mean, I lived here for 20 years before I even knew there was compost at the dump. Is there any way for people to access that and load up without having a dump sticker? That they can just take it? Because I paid hundreds of dollars a year to have that delivered, and I could have gotten it for free at the dump. So if there was a way for people to access and fill up their trucks or barrels, go home, put it in their garden without having to pay a dump fee, that was one thing I wanted to bring up. And then, is there somebody that could train somebody at the dump? There are so many positions in this town. There are duplicate positions. We can't get one or two people devoted to properly composting this, turning it, giving it the aeration it needs, and make it worthwhile rather than have it rotting and taking years to whatever the process is, ferment or whatever it is. So And that, so I just think that in the end, I disagree with the fee. I think it's,
I'm not putting a fee on. It's a fee now, but we're discussing 6 months of no fee.
right.
We'll have.
See,
Wait a minute, Bob, just a second.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have to have a dumpster.
Hold on.
No.
So it's 6 months, we'll have a moratorium. We'll go back, there's no fee. And we're going to work with the town, with Ken. Is it all right with you, Ken?
Yes.
Okay. So we've already discussed this whole thing. There is no fee. Now, we're taking the
Can
fee
people
away.
access the dump and take
Well, that's a
manure
separate
without
subject.
having a
That's a-
sticker?
Right now, that's a separate,
That's something we can bring into the discussion that we're
yeah,
having.
I mean, we're all going to
That's
discuss
right.
this as a team. Okay, I recognize you.
Steve Lynch from the Secretary. So, are the employees at the dump paid out of the enterprise money for trash, or are they general fund employees?
No, they're enterprise fund employees.
So part of the trash fee goes to pay for the people at the transfer station? That's correct.
It pays everything, yeah. The trash fee pays for the
For the employees at the transfer station?
yeah, correct.
So I have no problem with people from out of town accessing that and being able to get it without a dumpster guy. But I think they should pay for it if they're not a Marshfield resident.
Second?
Sorry, I'm confused about that, out-of-town people getting the,
You know, it's hard to give away that stuff to the people who pay for it, the Marshfield residents, who pay the fee for it. But if you're gonna allow other people to come get it, don't live in Marshfield, that don't pay the fee, so that you can get rid of more of it, that's fine, but make them pay a fee for it, so they're adding into the cost of the machine that has to turn it over every day, and the employee that you have to, you know, put on that job.
Well, that's everything that's going to be discussed in the next 6 months.
And so, you know, we could probably make money at selling them to people from out of town,
All right, let's
but they shouldn't get it for free.
I'll make sure we get that in the conversation.
Anybody else have a question on this?
she didn't.
Okay, good. Let's,
I think Aaron wanted to speak.
I think they want to say something.
Did you want to speak?
you all set?
Well, I'm happy with what you've done, so I just had a few points to make. I'm Erin Van Steenberg, 247 Sandhill Drive. I run Furnaceburg Farm. So I just was a few simple points with that. There were 3 of us commercial businesses that were using the dump, but there are over 200 horses in town. I think all of this can be discussed, by the way, so I don't want to waste any time. But I think that it isn't just our boarding facilities that are bringing the manure there, and that, so the problem's not going to disappear with these fees. I also have about 8 horses who are owned by Marshfield residents who aren't even making money for my business, but they're there for Marshfield residents, so that's another kind of gray area. But all of that being said, I appreciate you very much and appreciate you listening to this, and I also appreciate the resolution, and I am more than willing to get involved and help in any way.
Well, thank you very much.
So thank you for taking the time.
All right, so we'll make a motion to allow a 6-month moratorium, no fees whatsoever for manure. And you are, I'm sorry.
Can I add to that?
You want to-
While we develop
Right. that's
While
what-
we develop a database on how big the issue is, how much material that's coming out, that come up with a number of strategies that we can choose
Well,
from.
that's what they're doing.
No, I understand, but I want you making that as part of the motion. That we come up with a strategy so that the board has different strategies that we can go with, and come up with a solid plan and work with the agricultural commission. That would be the motion.
And Ken, are you happy with working with you?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken, are you the engineer I spoke with?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person.
Thank you, John. I wasn't cutting you off, John.
I'm sorry.
I was adding to it.
Are you happy with that situation?
Yes.
I think it's an exciting idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
It could be, I think it could be a really cool, unique initiative. Everybody will work hard on it together. Yeah.
Thank you.
Too bright now. Now it's so bright. Too bright now.
Hey, I'm just happy I can make things work.
Sorry, I'm not. You did
a good job.
You don't have to shovel your own.
I think that worked out well. Happy with that.
Better than pitch black, I love fall asleep.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
That's perfect. Now we have a spotlight. Next.
Okay. Action item, superintendent's contract.
Keep pushing them along. One's very hard. Also expensive, like,
No, we're going to number one, which is.
We want to, okay, I thought you were talking.
You were just jumping
Never
around.
mind. My copy's on my phone.
That's all right.
I wasn't sure if that was.
All right, Tom, you're up, superintendent's contract.
Yeah, I asked to have this put on the agenda. I had sent out the evaluation sheets back in February to the 3 board members required by the contract for them to fill out. And I asked this to be put on. This is the cost of living adjustment.
Cost of living, that's what it is.
It's a cost of living adjustment that you fill out the annual employee performance appraisal that I sent you in March.
So after we do that, then,
There's a rating sheet,
okay,
and then the sheet shows that, I have a copy of it here, John, if you haven't seen it.
okay, I see, all right, so we have to fill these out, and
Yeah, I sent them out to be, it had to be done back in February. I sent them out to the 3 years. I got Dave and Bob's back, but I haven't got anything from you.
all right, so I'll get it,
Okay.
all right. You need this one.
Well, this one, if agreed upon, everyone has to sign this one. This
Oh, all
will
right,
be the-
I'll look at the, and
I can
get that.
send you it again if you need it.
Yeah, save me looking for it.
Sure.
Okay, all right. All right,
Unless
so,
you want to just take this one and I can print another one.
no, I can.
Take that.
All right.
Yeah, I have it.
That will go there. Right. Bring that in. Okay, good. Good deal. Okay, we're all set with that. We've got trash cards, drain lanes done. Article 10, restricted water use. Okay. I passed this out to, Tom, you have a copy, Anne Marie, Ms. Gooden, and Bob. All right, so I'm just gonna make a motion here. Is this for, regarding the restricted water use bylaw and reversal of the September 12, 2022 board vote. The motion that the board votes to accept the current language 285-16 of the town's general bylaws as voted on by town meeting as the restricted water use policy of the board. And the board votes to reverse the vote of September 12, 2022 that added language to prohibit the installation of irrigation on town land to the bylaw language without a vote of town meeting. Discussion on the motion.
John, I don't think it's a bylaw. I think it's rules and regulations of the water department that were changed. It wasn't a bylaw.
When we go to the policies from 1998 all the way up, in 2005, the restricted water use is the bylaw.
There's a bylaw for restrictions, but the rules and regulations, I think, is what this was listed under. I might be wrong, but
It is under bylaws.
it is under bylaw?
This list is under bylaws.
Bylaws.
Yeah, for
Okay,
water.
so the rules and regulations also have it also.
Yeah, so you must have it in two
Yeah,
places.
it is. It is. It's in two places. Okay, so any discussion, Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, I have, as I said the last meeting, that we're confusing regulations with bylaws. So the water department has the state enabling legislation from the legislature, which is the water protection law. Then they promulgate regulations for all water suppliers. And then the town has additional bylaws and then regulations on top of it. I think we're confusing the bylaw, which is our enabling legislation from the town meeting, with our regulations. I think it's premature to make this kind of motion because it's a little confusing, because I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to do. You're changing the bylaw, the regulation. When we did the September vote in 2002, I believe we changed the regulation and not the bylaw. Because if we changed the bylaw, we'd have to go back to town meeting.
That's correct.
We're not changing it, we changed the regulation.
Okay, all right. Ms. Jordan, you have any comment?
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me, because this exact same thing is under bylaws, so it looks to me like it's just mirrored in regulations as it is in bylaws. And the vote changed it to say installation from use under regulations.
It expanded it.
Yeah, well, from what, I mean, it's not in this packet, but the one we had last time, use was removed and irrigation, installation was put in.
That's correct.
So,
I don't think it was actually even listed in the original rules and regulations. They added it when they made that vote.
so it did say from at the last meeting.
That's it.
You have it?
Okay, right, so E reads, and this must have been what you voted on in 2022.
Right.
It says automatic manual irrigation systems, whereas this one says automatic sprinkler systems. So automatic manual irrigation systems, the installation of irrigation systems, automatic or manual, is prohibited on town-owned lands and traffic islands. So that was voted on and passed in 2022. And I think it is appropriate to change that to use, because if you were in restricted water use time, okay, and you had a contractor install an irrigation system, as this reads here, they wouldn't be able to test it. Or they would test it, or if you have just use, then they're installing a system they can't test. So, you know, you don't want a contractor installing a system during during restricted water use and not be able to test it, but they can't test it if it's restricted, so it should just say use.
Well, we should just go back to the restricted water uses, which E, we have E here, it says prohibited on town-owned lands and traffic islands. Well, actually, this is what it reads. E, automatic irrigation sprinkler system use. The use of automatic irrigation sprinkler system is prohibited. And this one that was voted in September does not, it doesn't say the use. It just says the installation of irrigation systems, automatic or manual, is prohibited on town-owned land and traffic islands. This one, the motion is to remove that and go to the ones that were voted in 2005 with this language in it. This is the language that's in the bylaw.
So I would like to, I hear what you say, John, and I don't necessarily agree or disagree with you, but I want to put it in the right context. So I would like to put this issue off to another meeting while we get the list of the bylaw, all the bylaw, and the regulations, so you can compare to it. I don't want to be just, mixing this or that. And if there is a problem, I'd be in favor of making that change. But I want to make sure that we're not making the change in the bylaw, or we should be making the change in the regulation.
I have a copy of the regulations.
I know you do, but I don't have a copy in front
Well,
of
it
me.
was
So I'm
given-
asking to put it on to the next meeting.
It was given out some time ago, from 1998. It's the policy. Under 2005, restricted water use is the bylaw that was voted. And this is the bylaw, right here. This is what was voted. And this is what is in the policy for the DPW. And if you go to restricted water use and go down, click on it, it comes to the bylaw.
So I'm asking for...
That one in September was only to stop irrigations in town-owned lands and traffic islands, which is really ridiculous. It took out the word use. So I still looking for a second on my motion.
So I'm asking to delay it so they can find additional information.
There's no additional information.
I want to know what the difference is between the bylaw and the regulation. I want to compare and contrast it.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I'm voting aye because I think it has to say use.
Correct.
So it doesn't matter if it's in the regulations.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it has to say use.
I don't have a problem with the word use.
Diane,
Wait a second. I don't have a problem with
You're
I
asking-
just want to know if it's in the bylaw or the regulation, because, John, you're mixing the two.
That's
In
it.
my mind, you're mixing. You
Okay.
might not think it is,
All right.
but I think it is. And I want to be able to
Looking for a
show,
vote.
here's the
Diane,
bylaw,
just
here's the
vote.
regulation,
I vote
let's
aye.
compare and
Aye.
contract and
2 to
straighten
1.
it out. And I'm asking
2 to
for
1.
it to be postponed to the next meeting.
2 to 1 vote, let's go on to the next one. Okay. We have,
So I want to bring this up. Diane, are you voting?
we already
to-
voted on, we're on to the next agenda.
I'm asking
item.
for reconsideration. Diane, I'm asking you for reconsideration because you know
You've got to
if
ask
you're
for change.
voting to change the bylaw or the regulation.
I do know, because we can't vote to change the bylaw. That's not possible. We can't change bylaws at a board meeting. That has to go through.
Well, that's
town
what
meeting.
John's saying right here. Because in
Look,
September...
we've already voted.
We
Keep talking, Diane, we'll
voted
go
on the
on.
regulation. The board
This is
did
what
not
Calvin told me
vote
do.
to change
Just
the
move on.
bylaw.
Just move on. Superintendent's,
We changed the regulation.
Diane, don't answer him, we're going on to the next thing. I already talked to Mr. Galvin about this. He said if you keep talking, Mr. Shaughnessy, we're gonna move on to the next agenda item. Okay?
I have the right to speak, just like you do, John.
Go ahead, you wanted to talk? Go ahead.
I've already said what I said.
Okay, we already
You
voted.
don't have to be nasty, John.
We already voted 2-1.
Fine.
Okay. We got a vote to accept minutes 5/8/23. Are the minutes here, Emery, or what?
Yes, John, you're under 9, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, just that.
Oh, I saw these. Okay, yep. Trash cart, yep. Irrigation systems. That's for the veterans, yep. Yep, okay. Right now, we, at the minutes, I've read the minutes, I'm okay with them. Mr. Shaughnessy,
I'm okay with them?
Ms. Jordan?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written, 5/8/23.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go. Okay, superintendent's report. Number one. I'm sorry. Oh, yes, correct.
7.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 7.
Oh, 7.
7.
7 and,
Well, there is a permit required for a new vehicle opening. This new vehicle opening, checking back on the minutes and the Vimeo, there was no discussion of a new driveway opening. With there were 5 different meetings, 5 different times, and it was never mentioned anything about a new opening. So that opening really should be closed and the old opening opened, because that permit, there is no permit from the Board of Public Works for the new vehicle opening. Okay. Ms. Jordan, do you have any discussion?
yeah, I do, because this happened before I was on the board, so I did a lot of research. I just have notes to figure out how it happened. So I read all the minutes from the meetings where the guardrail was discussed, and I watched the videos. These meeting videos I'd already watched them because I watched a lot of them to prepare for deciding to run, but I watched those particular ones again, and I took notes on specific quotes regarding the guardrail, so I'll just read them, the quotes, and if unless I say I'm quoting, I'm paraphrasing. So July 18th, 22, with the superintendent's report, Tom talked about the winter road recovery program money His quote was, "That's earmarked for Joseph Dryback Way guardrail replacement," and then went on to list the other work, which was going to be covered. And then August 8th, 2022, Jimmy Kent gave the paving update during superintendent's report, and as part of that conversation, Tom's quote was, "We got a price for some guardrail on Joseph Dryback Way." So these quotes are from the videos. They're not all quoted exactly in the minutes, I don't think. November 7th, 2022, Jimmy Kent presented the superintendent's report. Mr. Kent's quote was, "The fencing on Joseph Dryback Way, I'm just waiting to hear a schedule on that." January 17th, 23, superintendent's report. Tom's quote was, "The guardrails at Joseph Dryback Way, the 27th of the month. They're supposed to be out there starting those." February 13th, 23, superintendent's report. Tom's quotes were, "The last issue is the guardrail on Joseph Dryback Way. That's something we've been discussing since August at different meetings." And then he went on to say, "The reason we replaced the guardrail there is that it's falling over. It was in disrepair, so we replaced what was there. The entrance to the DSA was relocated for safety reasons, and that was because the previous entrance intersected with one of the crosswalks. It was a safety issue, line of sight, vehicles coming and going. This way we centered the opening between the two crosswalks so that there's a better line of sight and there's no issue with anyone in the crosswalks when someone's exiting or entering the area, the DSA." So John wanted to discuss it, saying he couldn't find any discussion specific to relocating the entrance, and that the proposal with Premier Fence had no mention of the entrance being moved. Tom's quote was, "We instructed them to." John went on to talk about the building commissioner's violation, all the permits which would be required for this to be done, zoning, conservation planning, board approval, and approval by the Board of Public Works. The restrictions on fill in this area and the illegal use as a parking lot and more. Tom's quotes were, "This was routine maintenance and the slope needs to be repaired, yes, but the entrance itself, you get a better line of sight from the crosswalks and the traffic coming from either direction." John went on to explain the line of sight is now disrupted by the drop-off. Dave asked Tom if the line of sight issue was raised by the police department. Tom's quote was, "No, that was our decision." John went on to explain that the original entrance was grandfathered in and this would need to be put back to its original state and started from the beginning to do it properly with permits and approvals and according to the bylaws. So I had attended the March 14th, 2023 ZBA meeting on that building department violation. Tom and John were also in attendance. I also watched that video twice and I have many quotes from that meeting, but I don't think those are needed right now, so I'll just leave them out. So my concerns about the relocation of this entrance, which lead to the need for significant fill and grading, have to do with the many procedures which are required and were clearly not followed through with the planning department, zoning, conservation, and a vote by this board. No one, not the DPW, not the town administrator, no one can proceed with any work like this without following correct procedures, permits, and approvals. The fact is that it's now a very unstable and unusable entrance, but it cannot be legally filled and graded without a surveyed site plan, permits, and an affirmative vote by this board. So I see no option other than closing off this entrance and opening up the original entrance, and once that's done, if they still feel the need to relocate the entrance, then they can go through all the proper procedures and see if it's legally allowed and approved.
Thank you.
That's my opinion.
Mr. Shaughnessy.
We were replacing a guardrail, not putting a driveway.
Right.
That's what was told to us, and I was in the favor of it. And putting guardrails in doesn't require a permit. Now, there is an opening, not doesn't have to have a driveway, but there is an opening. And if it's a safety issue, and we need to have a driveway there, then we should go through the normal process of getting it approved through the normal channels. But installing the guardrail is not, that's what was told to us, and that's why I voted that. Now, if they want to put the driveway in there, then they need to go through the normal process.
which didn't happen.
Exactly.
So,
I have a letter here from the zoning board of appeals approving it.
that's only one permit,
That's one, right?
right?
First one that was needed.
Right. So they never came before our board for approval. So, just to cut to the quick, I make a motion that we return to where it was, the old opening opened and the new opening closed.
I
I didn't
don't
ask.
think the new opening is actually a driveway.
It's not a driveway.
It's an opening. If the old is the old driveway still there?
No.
So I think we need to go through the process.
So, yeah. So I'll make a motion that we close the new driveway vehicle opening and open up the old vehicle opening because it was not permitted.
I think we'd have a problem with that because we're going to be opening up the old one, and that's
Yeah,
probably
well,
considered a new driveway.
Do I have a second on that?
Same thing.
We can't vote on this,
It's,
though.
that's just the moving the guardrail. It's not changing any of the slope or grading or anything. Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So that's the end of that.
Yeah.
No work is to be done over there until that thing is straightened out.
It's fine. You're the boss.
Okay. We're now at the superintendent's report, dredge spoils.
Summer hours.
No, we buy, that's collective bargaining.
Huh?
That's collective bargaining.
Oh, I thought we were talking about board summer hours.
It's a
Oh.
Board of Public Works summer
Oh,
We
hours.
have
would-
summer
All
hours.
right,
It's for our.
it's for
board
meetings.
hours.
Yeah, I asked to put this on because in the past, in July, in June, July, and August, when there's vacation times, we go from two meetings a month to one.
Oh,
So I wanted to put it on the board's agenda to have a discussion to reduce the number of meetings that we have to attend in the summer months. So how does the rest of the board feel about reducing
What
the number
months?
of meetings?
What months were that? June, July, and August?
July and August usually.
June, July, and August.
No, no. To be honest with you, I have no problem with meeting twice a month, but I think we have a lot on the table to meet. Maybe in July, we could do one meeting.
Usually we do 1 July and August, because that's
July.
usually when there's not a lot on the
Okay,
agenda.
okay, that's true. So, all right, July and August, one meeting a month, are you comfortable with that?
I don't know because I don't know how much is coming up. I would
I mean, we can
prefer
keep
that
them
we
on the
kind of
schedule.
wait and, I mean, if we keep to the schedule that we have, and then we're coming to, you know, we're at the beginning or middle of June or whatever, and there's not much coming up in July, we can adjust it
Sure.
then, right? Is that allowed?
But
to do it that
traditionally,
way?
we've done this for the last 10 years
Yeah.
anyways, that we've done one meeting in the summer months.
But I'll miss you all, so. I just got here. I have to get used to my schedule.
So we can look at it and at the meeting, and then
Yeah, we'll schedule them,
Nothing-
and if we
nothing's
don't have
happening,
anything, we'll
we won't.
cancel it.
Right,
nothing's happening.
exactly, it can always
Okay.
be canceled, but it's gonna be harder to reschedule something that's not on the schedule.
Right.
Okay.
So
Well,
keep,
we could always have a meeting for one or two items if it came up.
correct.
Right.
But
if
we
you
don't have to
needed
have a
something.
full board meeting. We could have a board meeting for those items. So say if a contract came up and we needed to approve that, they could schedule a meeting and we could have it and just deal with that. We've done that in the past also.
Yeah, honestly, Bob, that it doesn't work for me that way because I do work 4 nights a week generally, so,
We'd have it on a Monday night.
right, but I'm specifically taking Mondays off.
Oh, I see.
So that I can be here, so picking up a meeting at the last minute is not gonna be possible for me, but canceling if we don't have anything to do is much easier, I think, than trying to pick one up.
We've done that multiple times.
And then for your
We're gonna keep it the way it is, and
for history. What we've also done, if something came up in the summer, the superintendent can poll the board and do a vote on, as a poll on the board.
Okay.
And then we ratify it on the next meeting. So you wouldn't have to take the time off, is my point.
We're gonna keep it the way it is. Let's just move on. Let's keep it
Yeah,
the
I'd
way
rather
it is.
keep it.
Keep it the way it is, if we have to
Somebody has a
cancel,
question.
we'll cancel. Go ahead, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Steve, that's 57. So we didn't have the public comment on the DSA opening. So the first statement I can make is, first off, that is not a parking lot.
I didn't see it.
That's not a parking lot to start off with. And so if you're gonna have an opening there for vehicles to come in and out of, it should be for DPW jobs that need to be done in there. And it should be a gated opening, so that when you aren't using it, but when you need to use it, then that area is closed off, because it's not a legal parking lot. It's never been zoned as a parking lot, it is a DSA area. And I'd like to know what Tom's priority is. Are we gonna hire the fence company to come back to move it, the guardrail, or is the DPW gonna do it themselves? And just one more thing to add to that, the one thing that everybody missed in this is the first crosswalk that's immediately to the north of the bridge should be closed. Someone's gonna get killed there. You can't see people coming out to go across that crosswalk. So why do we have crosswalks? Why do we even have crosswalks going to an area that's not a parking lot? But if you want to leave the other one open, that's whatever. But the first one is dead. Someone's going to get killed walking across that crosswalk. As I said before, when I go across that bridge and someone's coming at me, all of a sudden my view, instead of down the road like most people look when they're driving, gets narrowed to the bridge itself because it's so narrow. So you're trying to look at the car coming at you. And then, when you get older, you lose that peripheral vision. And people coming out of that side there from the DSA area immedately next to the bridge, you miss them. I've done it many times.
Steve, does it need cutting? Does it need,
why do we need two crosswalks there? It's not a parking lot. It's not a trail. It's an area that's supposed to be a conservation area or a DSA. It's not supposed to be open to the public in the first place.
but we're working on it.
Thank you.
So I would like to know from Tom what he's gonna do about moving the guardrails. Is he gonna have the fence company come back and move it? Or is he gonna have the DPW do it? And where it is on his priority of list of things to do and how soon?
I gotta put that list together.
So you'll get back to us
I'll
on
get
how
back
it's
to you.
gonna happen?
I'm not gonna have my staff do it. I have to find the funding to bring the contractor back in to remove it.
We'll find somebody.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just move on. Paving list update.
We can pass on the dredge spoils area ramp. The paving list is Forest Street and from Summit to Martinson School, and then from Furnace to Plain Street, and then Furnace from 3A up through the intersection of the first three roads that we'll be paving this spring. Update on Surf Ave, they're currently working.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you do Quincy, those street spaces in Quincy?
I have not got in there yet.
No, I thought that was part of the list.
No.
Okay, all right.
No, that's
Right there.
patchwork, that's
Okay,
not
okay.
paving. Update on Surf Ave is they're in the drainage and water is ongoing now. They're moving from Monitor back towards Ocean Street so they can connect the drainage. So as they proceed in the opposite direction, that there'll be drainage to handle, the drainage system will handle what's been already set up and it won't interfere ongoing. The Plymouth Ave project is on schedule to have the final design by the middle of June, and we're looking at July, August timeframe for putting that out to bid. And I will say that Ken did get notification last week that We made it through the first phase of the brick program for the dike. So we'll be waiting to hear more on that.
Very good.
That's
Okay.
it.
Well, there's no questions from the board. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you,
Oh,
Tom.
There's someone here.
Jane Higgins, 473 Ocean. I'm not sure if this can be addressed here, but a couple of weeks ago, I called the water department because I walk my dog up and around the streets on Plymouth Ave there, and 2 weeks ago, I called the water department because there was water bubbling up out of the ground on the corner of 35 Saginaw and Plymouth Ave. And it's been that way for now a month. And I was just wondering, I called and left a message, but I never heard back from anybody about that being addressed. Did anybody look at it?
I don't know, but I will check first thing in the morning for you. If I could get your phone number,
Sure.
I'll check and then I'll give you a call once I talk to someone in the morning.
Because it's been now a month, and it was even through all this where we didn't have any rain. You can see it coming right up out of the grass, right on the side of the street, and it running down. It's been that way for a month now.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll have someone look at it first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
I'll just get your number before you leave.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Choose it.
Yeah, we
Are you in
adjourn.
favor?
Yeah.
Okay.